Awesome. Okay, so again, I'm Kayla Garner. I'm a co-founder of Betterness Box. Denise, I think, is who your team was interacting with, and we are a subscription box. I literally have our subscription box under my computer right now, just so I can have the right angle. But we're in a We Are Wealthy season. In fact, let me at least get that out just so that I can have the little insert. And then introduce yourself in just a second and let me know. Were you familiar with Betterness Box, or was this kind of one of those reach outs?
Yeah, it was just one of the many reach outs that we get, and just trying to prioritize and get with everybody as much as we can. Yeah, no worries. No worries. I always try to, well, I don't know if I should say this on recording, but I always try to prioritize Black-owned businesses, okay?
Oh, no, we say it all the time over here at Betterness Box. So Black everything. I'm in a Black med and wellness spa right now because we're hosting an event on April 29th all about wealth and wellness. And we're going to be talking about real estate and creating generational wealth, but then mindset shifting as it relates to making sure you can actually do that and sustain that and make sure the journey is fruitful. And so, girl, Black owned everything over here. Okay. Yes. We're in the We Are Wealthy season. This is our mini zine that comes in the box. And the book for the month is We Should All Be Millionaires. So we talk about all things when it comes to wealth generation in this box. And it's a box full of things that just make you feel luxurious and wealthy. That's basically what it is. There's literally a button that says you are a badass, and a mini book that also says you are a badass, just so we can make sure to affirm that over ourselves. Sometimes we need that, right? Yes. Yes, but yes, I'm so happy to have you here with us. Let me know your name, your company, and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Cierra Gross. I'm the founder and CEO of Cagebird HR. We are the first of its kind HR services company to provide independent HR support to individuals. We also do small business consulting and employee relations outsourcing on the business side. So super happy to be here and having, this meaningful conversation about work and wellness and everything in between.
Absolutely. It's so important, right, to really have all of those things in a row. When I think about just business in general, I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time because I've just always wanted to have businesses. Some of them succeeded, some of them didn't. Which is reality, right? And I think about the journey of getting everything together in the right way. And had I done certain things ahead of time, right, that I didn't even know were important, I would be set up for so much more success. And so I guess my first question for you is, what do you usually see when it comes to small businesses, and where is that largest area of opportunity when it comes to, okay, y'all need to get this done first before we even get to the second, third step?
Yeah, so I think this is a very complex question, right? So
when it depends on the person, on the business, right?
So I think when it comes to small businesses, one of the things that people kind of miss is that I think sometimes people can be so obsessed or interested in the idea of entrepreneurship that they miss kind of the business fundamentals, right? Yeah. So I understand that people may have a great idea and they want to be their own boss and things like that, but the goal of business is to make money. And so I always have this saying, if we're going to fail, we're going to fail fast, right? And so if you start a business and you're not seeing customers, or you're not making money in the first X amount of months, then the answer is not to just, I'm just going to keep going because I believe, right? You need to make some sort of adjustment to make sure that you are adding value, right? Because the market responds to one thing and one thing only, and that's value. And it doesn't matter who's providing the value. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, where you come from. The reality is that if there's value, then people will look past all this other stuff because you're providing a valuable service, right? Amazon is a great example, or Tesla is a great example. People have all kinds of opinions about these business leaders and their personal opinions and the way that they spend their money or don't spend their money, right? But past all that, you still buy stuff from Amazon. because there's value, right? You still gonna go get that Tesla because the value is that you don't have to spend money on gas. If you're an environmentalist, you're not, emitting all these harmful gases into the economy, right? And so
Yep.
I think when we talk about small businesses and particularly Black business owners, I think we really have to focus on getting the business fundamentals correct and making sure that we are adding value and we're communicating that value effectively. And I think that's why Cage Bird HR has been so successful in such a short period of time, because we've only been in business 15 months. And our first month we did $140,000. So that tells
Congratulations.
that tells me that I'm providing value,
Mm-hmm.
and the market is responding to the value by way of
Yep.
exchanging goods, exchanging money for goods and services that I'm offering.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's I think for me, the most important thing when I get asked these questions or when I mentor people about business and things like that, I always encourage them to focus on, are you adding value and are you communicating that value? Because if you were, that would be reflected in the P&L. Right.
Yep. Ooh, 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 ooh,
The P&L.
So for those of you who aren't aware, because I didn't always know this, right? A P&L is your profit and loss statement. And so it's black and white. What money did you bring in and what money went out, right? And so to show your overhead or your expenses are over the amount that you brought in means that you are not a profitable business. And so are you bringing in enough value? Does it give you direction on where you need to invest more in to try to get, your profit up? So P&L, profit and loss, just so everyone is aware. And I love what you said about, oh, go ahead.
Right. No, I was gonna say it's not always about the bottom line on the P&L, right?
Yep.
Because you could be making money and also not making money, right? So your top line revenue could be 100,000, but if it costs 100,000 to run a business, that doesn't mean that you're not adding value. That means you have to find where you can save money elsewhere to increase the bottom line, which on a P&L is your net profit, right? So it's not only about, are you netting money at the end of the day, because there's expenses that come with running a business, right? And so it's just a matter of making sure that that top line is steadily increasing and not staying the same at no making little to no money.
Exactly. It literally is the direction, like your little blueprint for your business, right? To say, okay, these are the categories. A good bookkeeper, a good accountant will really help you get into those categories and say, okay, you've done this much in these categories. Is there a way to reduce this? Is there another vendor you should be using for this and this and this, right? To your point, it doesn't always have to be that bottom line. How do you make those adjustments to make sure your P&L comes out in a better green, black instead of red, which is awesome. An awesome point. I want to go back to what you were saying about Amazon, because it's so good. And it actually relates a little bit to some of the stories and the direction that Rachel Rogers wrote in her book, We Should All Be Millionaires. And it's this thought that like only, in a struggling economy or in a recession, only certain, industries do well, right? So hospitality is going to take a hit, guaranteed, because we're in a recession, or certain areas are going to flourish, right? It will always flourish, like law or doctors, right? Or the medical field or whatever that looks like. And I think we're in a different era now, right? That might have been true for our grandparents and our parents, but Amazon is one of those places that just has stuff, right? It has stuff that we need every day. But most of the purchases that we buy off of Amazon, y'all, we know, right? And it's those little purchases. Oh, it's only $8. It's only $7. That adds up year over year, month over month, week over week. And so one of the things that Rachel Rogers talks about, right, is she did her best as a coach, a money coach, right? During the recession, like she had planned this huge event and was getting ready to gather all these women together in person. Of course, that couldn't work when the pandemic hit and everything shut down. And so she's thinking her business is over. Like she spent all this money on this event, She pivoted, her and her team pivoted, and they got it together in a way where they were able to invest in the people that were already supporting them via their podcast, and then grew that to be a multi-million-dollar business in the pandemic in 2020. So I think one of the things that I always talk about business, to help businesses with is like, let's make sure, and really just my friends, because I'm not but can we make sure again that we're profitable, but let's not discount some of the things you want to do. Maybe candles are all the business right now, right? Maybe journals are all planners, whatever that looks like for you. I think it's very important to keep your mind open, and it doesn't matter what's happening in the economy as much as it does is what you're providing valuable to people. Have you found those buyers that are going to buy your product? And so I think that's really, really, really important to know and think through. Okay. What else around, small businesses and kind of the obstacles? Do you see that there are specific things that maybe Black owned women businesses kind of have as a hurdle or an obstacle versus other businesses that, are not small and Black and woman owned? And what are those, and how have you helped maybe to kind of navigate some of those challenges?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of my clients are not entrepreneurs, right? A lot of my clients are folks who are W-2 employees who work in, at Amazon, NBA, Savage Fenty, any kind of company you could think of. I have clients there. But when it comes to, I am an entrepreneur and a small business owner, and I can just talk about my own experiences. One that's been reported on often is the access to funding. Right. And so at some point, every entrepreneur kind of faces the entrepreneur's dilemma, right? Where you're making money, but you're not making enough money to be able to kind of blitz the market in a way that will allow rapid growth, right? So you've done all the foundational work, you have a proof of concept, the business is making money, but it also takes money to run the business, right? So payroll is oftentimes going to be your biggest expense for any organization, because you have to pay not only the wages, but you have to pay the taxes and everything else. And so you get in kind of this, like, you start running in place, right? Because everything is good, you're making money, but you need access to funding. And I think in the situation of Cagebird HR, we started making money so fast that we kind of eliminated ourselves from kind of like the grant options, right? Or the investor options in the way of just getting access to funding, because a lot of those folks, it's like, oh, you can only be in business for less than 2 years, but you can't make more than 100 grand, and you have to be in this kind of industry. And we're the first company to do this. There is no competitors, at least not right now. I'm sure one will pop up eventually, but at least right now, we're the first one in our industry to be doing the work in this way. And so there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. But then there's also a lot of hesitancy from the financial community, because they're like, oh, we see you making money, but is it a scalable business, right? And so what we're trying to figure out now in finding investors is, okay, how do we get the right investors? How do we get the investors who understand the work that we're doing and the value that it adds? Because 99% of my clients are Black women. And that takes a culturally competent person to understand the experiences and the value that we add, right? And so most investors, they just, they look at my financial statements and they're going, yep, this is making money, great. But they don't really understand the why and the purpose and the mission. And so for me, as we start to look for funding, it's not just about who can write the biggest check. It's about who really understands this business and the why behind it. And when most of the wealth holders in this country are white men or women, the quest for funding can be even harder.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so real. That is so real. And as you mentioned, it's widely reported on, right? It's no secret that access to capital. Yeah, I just saw Aisha Curry, who I'm like a super fan of, set up and be a part of a collective that's giving away money to Black-owned businesses. I think women-owned businesses. Same thing with Gabrielle Union, right? These women who see it and they're like, I have some influence. How can I, make a difference? And so I love that. I love that we're save ourselves, right?
Even in Gabrielle Union's example, lots of people send us that grant and we open the grant and it's like, oh, you have to be in the beauty space. And so I'm not in the beauty space.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. No, and that's real. I think it's tough to kind of break out or be a breaker. Like you said, there's no competitors for you right now. So what does it look like to be that? And it's crazy to me, blows my mind that like when there's no competitors and it's a market that's booming and you're clearly showing profit, like where the investors need to be running to you, right? Like this is a great opportunity. So, but I love what you're saying about the fact that you have to get someone on your team and you know, because when you get an investor, that's a marriage, right? And so it's like, who really understands this business, the mission behind it, and the why? I love that because that is going to take you further. And you know, you're giving and entrusting somebody with this idea, this executable, proved, you know, concept as well. So no, that's amazing. I love that. Let's get into mindset. So keeping with the theme of like wealth and wellness, which is again, kind of a theme that we're going with, of course, as a wellness company focused on wealth in this season. We know that mindset is huge, right? And we have the quotes out there that say, I'm living my ancestors' wildest dreams and I'm, you know, whatever, and all the Instagram content, right? With these audios that are speaking life into us, which are great. But the practicality and the background of running a company and having, you know, the responsibility of people and them paying their bills and a team and all of these different things that call on you requires a different level, a different level of mindset. And so I would just like to hear about a little bit about your journey to getting to the point where you have this mindset, right? That you can do it. There's no imposter syndrome. My therapist tells me I don't even believe that for Black women because we be doing all the things. So if anything, we might have some anxiety or some nervousness, but we ain't an imposters because we do all the things and more. But you know, what has that looked like for you from the, you know, from where you started until now?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with a little bit just about my education background and how this company even came to be. So I have a master's in human resources from the University of South Carolina. I went on to have a great career, landed me at places like ExxonMobil and Google, and then I spent a little bit of time in the startup space before starting my own business. I was raised by what I would consider to be a Black historian and a lover of Black people, right? And so even though I was raised in a single parent home by my father, he spent a lot of time protecting our minds from the realities of society, and particularly the realities of whiteness and its impact on a Black child's mind, right? And so there were a lot of conversations around, you know, we would come home and have these limited beliefs about ourselves. He would really challenge that and say, is that actually your belief? Or is that, you know, are you intimidated because, you know, these white girls are, you know, presenting themselves as better than you, but then when it comes down to the actual meat and bones of it, they're really not that smart, right? As a quote from Auntie Michelle Obama, right? They're just not that smart, right? And so every time we would have these kind of thoughts and I would talk to my dad about it, he would just be like, "Yeah, that's not true. This is a function of white supremacy, and you are being
Come on, Pops.
conditioned to believe these things about yourself that just are not true. And you have to have a clear understanding of who you are, what you're capable of, because if you don't, they will define you for you, and you won't even realize that it's happening." So those are the conversations we were having at like 8, 9, 10 years old. So when I found, yes. So when I found myself in corporate settings where I just felt like I was being, you know, and it's normal as a function of being in corporate America, right? People are giving you feedback. I never digested that as completely 100% true, right? I digested it for what it was. It's a person whose job it is to assess my performance, and it's my job to pick and choose what I want to consume as true and work on, and what I don't want to consume as true and not work on, right? So I would take the meat and leave the bones. And so when it comes to my business, right, I never believed that I couldn't do it, right? I never believed that this was outside of my capabilities. One, because I was raised by an entrepreneur. And then my mind was always being protected from the socialization of white supremacy, right? And then I just always had a a healthy disregard for what others believe to be true, right? And so, I always feel like, who are you to tell me who I
Hey,
am?
hey.
Right? And that's not of my own doing, right? 100% of that credit goes to my dad, but
Yeah.
that's just always how I felt. Like, who are you to tell me that I'm not, Google told me that I couldn't be a manager because they didn't think I was ready. And I quit and went and started my own business. And now I have a staff of 5 plus a bunch of contractors that all report to me. So it's like, I think we have to just do a better job. I think in context of our clients, right? A lot of our clients, they consume this whole, right? My
Yes.
manager said that I can't communicate, Cierra, and now I'm just like, dang, maybe I can't communicate. Maybe I do need to work on this. And then, they never had a cage bird HR to come to. They never had that before. They never had a complete independent and objective professional that they can say, this is my experience. Am I right? Am I wrong? Right? And then be affirmed and validated to say, baby girl, it's not you. I done heard this story 12 times today from women across the country. It's not you, babes. This is this is a system. Okay.
Yes.
I've been on the phone with you for 20 minutes now and you communicate just fine. Right.
Yes.
And so I think we have to do a better job of not allowing others to define us. Right. And I think sometimes as Black women, because of how we've been socialized to believe that we have to be everything for everybody and nothing for ourselves. And that leads us to abandon ourselves and our own thoughts and beliefs about ourselves and just consume what everybody else tells us that we are. And so, Cage Bird HR, I say this all the time, Cage Bird HR is a love letter to Black women and it's a love letter to myself. Because when I was going through my situation at work, I didn't have nobody to say, hey, is this what's going on? Nobody.
Is this what retaliation is okay? Right.
Because we before this company exists, we would be experiencing these things in a vacuum, in isolation. So there was no central repository of data and experiences to say everybody is going through this.
Yeah.
Right. And that is not you, right? But had I had that, I probably wouldn't have been diagnosed with clinical depression. Right.
Woo.
I probably wouldn't have had my hair falling out and not been able to eat and not sleeping and stressed out, right? Because I just didn't know, right? But what I did have was HR expertise to understand, okay, if I'm going to be in a situation, I'm going to get everything I can get out of it on my way out, right?
That part.
Right, and that's a piece that most people were missing before today, right? So now you can kind of get all of that support, that foundational education in HR and a strategy to help you all with Cage Bird HR. But before that, none of that existed. And so people are consuming all of this nonsense about themselves because we as Black women and we as women in general just have been conditioned to believe that if you're not laboring, you're not worth nothing. And so we tell our clients, baby, go rest, go lay down, go have a drink. Okay. You quit your job, great. What are you about to do? No, don't start another job. If you can afford to take a break, go lay down.
Cierra, where you at? Because we gonna have to hang out. Because I be saying this stuff.
It's true.
It's so true. Girl, you're gonna make me cry because this is my life's mission. It like literally speaks to me and really Betterness box, right? Yeah. To just rest. Like just the revolutionary thought for a Black woman to rest.
Girl, go lay down.
Go lay down. Right. And that whole, I left my job, right? In that celebratory moment. And then I have several friends who have done this and tried to like transition out of full time and go to do their own thing. And then they grab up the next thing that comes just because they're so afraid to sit still and rest. We're so conditioned, again, by white supremacy that is systematically weaved through every single thing in our lives. We are sent it, we see it, like it's everywhere, right? And so we have to be revolutionary. It really is revolutionary, and it really is a rebel act to say, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to rest.
The resistance to rest is a generational curse.
Yes.
Because when we were slaves, our value was tied to our labor.
Yes.
That was it.
That's
we still have not undone that way of thinking, right?
Mhm.
Both within ourselves and how society views us. And so because 99% of my clients are Black women, we're
Yep.
hyper aware of the fact that, baby, you just need to go lay down.
You
You
will
need to
be
go,
more effective in your job if you just
yeah,
go sit down.
you need to start meditating. You need to go lay down. You need to eat organic fruits and vegetables, and
Yep.
you need to go lay down. You need to start using the word no, and you need to
Favorite,
go lay down. You need to go lay down.
no with no explanation. How about that?
Yeah, and then the other thing is there's so many distractions, right? There's so many
Mhm.
distractions in today's society. There's social media, which is, subconsciously defining who we are and how we should
Yep.
be and how we should show up in every aspect of our lives, at work and our relationships and our, in our silent time, if you even have any, on vacation, right? Social media is defining for us how we should live our lives. And
Yep.
so another thing that we try to emphasize with our clients is that you need to look inside yourself.
Yep.
You need to silence yourself and everything around you
Mhm.
and look inside yourself
Yes.
and define you for you.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the times, if you're listening, people are just regurgitating
Oh, every
what they see
time.
on social media, what they think is acceptable standards of behavior, how you should be showing up in the world. And
Mhm.
so one of the things we also tell our clients is that, like, you just need to go sit in the woods some. They got them little silent retreats that they got.
Girl, listen, Getaway House, my favorite. I go on cruise. I just went on a cruise by myself for a week in January.
Just
Yes.
go, just go be with yourself, okay? Because you have become somebody that you don't even recognize because you didn't define this person. And the craziest part about it is social media is so good at doing that, it is subconscious. And so
Mhm.
to the person who is asleep, they'll become defensive.
Yeah.
No, this is
Mhm.
how I feel, right? But if you start asking a little bit, just a probing,
Immediately, right? No, like I know I got that from here. I got this from here. No, like they
right,
literally, it's tied and weaved to their identity. Absolutely.
right. And so,
Absolutely.
when we think about the identity, your identity as it pertains to your job, right? There's a lot of people right now, a lot of clients who are depressed because they got
Yep.
laid off from their fancy tech job.
Mhm.
They had become who they are. And now that piece of their identity is gone, they don't have a fucking clue. Excuse me. They don't have a clue
Who they are.
about what to do, who they are,
Like, what do you actually like to do? Did you even like that job?
because they were all tied up in being a Googler or being an Amazonian or being whatever. And it's like,
They
baby, you were a
made
whole person, but you were a whole person before you had this job. You need to go find
woo,
that girl. You need to go find her
had to
because
go back and
only
find
she can save you. I can't save you. I can educate you on how to get you a little check on the way out. But if you don't go find her,
it.
you're going to be
Right.
again and again
Again
and
and
again.
again. Yep.
Yeah.
Woo, girl, listen. You know
I
the
didn't mean
thing
to start preaching,
though,
but
I didn't know this is what it was gonna be, but
tell you a joke, but I won't tell you a lie.
listen, I want to go back to also what you were saying about like that unhealthy disregard or a healthy disregard of just other people's opinions. And I
Yeah.
feel like that is not only a mindset, right? But that's like a practice because you have to do that consistently because once people try to continue to put things on you, it's basically an action or a practice of pausing and saying, is that true? Asking yourself, is that true? Is what this person just said about me true? Right. And not just taking it on. And it's like we have all these layers from years and years, especially, and it's so unfortunate, right? My mother's generation or the generation before that, as they see us shedding now, right? I feel like they see our generation start to shed some of these myths and lies and just all the things. And it's interesting to see them struggle to do that, right? Because like you said, it's not even the job anymore for them, right? They're in their 60s and 50s and 60s. And so they're like holding on to like everything that's defined them, the way they care for other people, even though they hate doing it. Like you hate waking up every morning making handmade biscuits. Why don't you just order them? Like, why are you over here
Why are you suffering?
doing
Why
the
are you?
thing somebody
Why,
said?
it's a mess. And you know what? I give a lot of grace to the generation before us because
Same.
like us, right? We are just a product of the time that we live in. And so
Exactly.
that was usual and customary for them. That's not
Yep.
usual and customary for us, right? And so a
Yep.
lot of the times, as far as like career advice, clients will come to us and be like, well, my mama told me just do my job and go home.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Baby.
'Cause
Your
that's
mama
all she could do. It wasn't even all, she didn't have a choice, right? That's all she could do.
like
It
that
was
is a
that to
great
starve and
yeah,
not feed you.
that's a
So,
way to get laid off, babes. Like that's not how the world works anymore. If HR
right.
doesn't know who you are, then why would they keep you? Because they don't know who you are, they don't know what you do. And if they don't know what you do, then they don't need you.
That part. That part. You're
So
not essential.
yeah,
You're
so
not
you need to go to the happy hour. Yeah, in conclusion, you need to go to the happy hour. I don't care if you stay there 20 minutes. You better get you a little soda water lime, okay? Don't be drinking. Mix and mingle. You tell people it's vodka soda. I don't care what you do. But you need to go up there, smile. Okay.
I'm here, and dip out.
Okay. And then you could go home. But
Mhm.
just doing your job and going home is really not going to lead you to the type of success that you want to see, at least in the corporate space. So
No, no, exactly. Not anymore. And it speaks to like this relational piece that I wanted to get into, right? It's just like now things are just like you said, they're different in corporate. And I, see myself and the opportunities that I've gotten in network engineering, which is my full-time career, in like complete difference the way I've networked maybe in the first 5 years of my career versus the last 15 or 10. And it's just like night and day, just because of doing the things you're saying, right? Of volunteering with the ERG or the BRG, right? Whatever resource group, or just being visible, right? And having relationships and going to lunch and making sure you have a mentor or an advocate or a sponsor, or all three, right? Like, what does that look like to do that within your career? And it has made mountains of change. And I want to make sure, like, we're talking about like career movement, and we're talking about like what it looks like to be a Black woman in corporate America, but this directly affects what you bring home, period. This directly affects your check. My check like doubled in the last 5 years, or I guess 2 years ago it had doubled, just because of getting up to the next level, right? I went from a 12% bonus of my salary to a 20% bonus of my salary in one jump, just because I knew somebody and they knew my skills and knew what I could do and had faith in me.
yeah.
Like, we're talking about the bag, y'all. This isn't just like, oh, I'm here, okay. No, we're talking about the bag, and now I can use those funds. My last bonus is going to investment property. Like, I'm building wealth outside of this, right? So I
Yes.
just want people to know, like, if you're gonna be a 9-to-5er, cool, be a 9-to-5er, but make sure you're building these things and doing the things you can do within
Yeah.
your career to get there. And so I'm sure you see a lot of that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I have a book coming out this summer, and in it, yep, and in it,
Do tell.
one of the chapters is around, what do you do when you first start a new job? And I talk about landing and expanding, right? And so
Ooh.
you land in a new job, and the first thing you need to do is start expanding your network. It's an unfortunate truth that everybody in corporate America is not created equal. There are certain people in certain positions that have power to make things happen for you, and
Period.
you need to go find those people,
Yep.
right? And you can only find those people by landing and networking and asking the right questions or the right people to kind of get you to where you want to be and in front of the right people, right? And it's not, I want to emphasize this point as well, because it's not only about networking, because people are not going to put their name on you if you are not performing, right?
Period. Oh, say it again for the people in the back.
You have to be the best at what you do. People know me as being a performer before anything else, right? That's why I've never looked for a job my entire career, because I didn't have to, because people were making calls on my behalf. Because every time I stepped into a role, I was adding value and I was doing it pretty much immediately, right?
Mhm.
So it's not enough to just network and be in everybody's faces,
Mhm.
right? You have to be a producer, and you have to be very, very good at what your job, and you can leave no doubt about the fact that you are good at what your job is,
Yeah.
and that you can produce and add value in any circumstance and in any situation. And
Mhm.
so I think those two things together, landing and expanding and being very good at what you do, will take you very far. But you
Mhm.
can't really have one without the other, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of like a yin yang. Both the
Yep.
pieces fit together, and if they
Perfect.
do, you'll go to the top, right?
Yep.
And in my career, like I said, my healthy my healthy discharge, for what other people have to say, that got me in trouble. I'm not gonna lie. I was very and am a very outspoken person. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do what people say do just because they said do it. Because again, my people like, who are you to tell me? Like, I want to see for myself. Like, I'm not take what you said and roll with it. I want to see for myself, right? And that
Good.
got me in trouble, right? But the thing that saved me was that I was always the best.
Mhm.
In that I found a lot of safety, because like, what are you gonna do to me? I'm the best person you got. Out of
Mhm.
out of grad school. It's so funny in South Carolina, they probably hate me. I was calling them out for being racist and all kind of stuff. But I had the best
Mhm.
internship, the best company. And out of all the 3 students who got the internship, I was the only one that got converted. So now I'm the only student with the best internship, the best salary, the best company, right? And now
Wow.
I'm into a full-time job. So my opinion was like, okay, I'm making some people uncomfortable by telling it how it is, but the reality is you can't touch me because I'm the best student you got. And I
Woo.
knew that, right? And so,
Mhm.
I got away with probably more than I probably should have gotten away with, both
Same
in
girl, same.
my whole career, but it was just because I was a producer and everybody,
Yeah.
right? And so the good outweighed the bad, right? On top of that, I'm
Mhm.
a people person. I'm very funny. I like to make people laugh, but you're
Mhm.
also not gonna, run no BS by me, and I'm just not gonna say nothing.
That part, because you're a whole human. And
Yeah,
honestly, that's just what it is. I
yeah,
love it. I love it. I love it. And it shows, I guess, the unhealthy relationship sometimes with like corporate America, right? Where it's like all about value. That's it. That's all they care about. And I mean, that's a business, right? When you run your own, you understand that, right? You understand like bringing on a whole person and being responsible for them and benefits and all the things. You got to
yeah,
make sure you're getting the value out of what that looks like so that you can continue running your business. But I love what you're saying about, the expansion, because when I think about that, some people think about it as like almost drinking the Kool-Aid sometimes, right? Like, are you drinking the Kool-Aid? Are you going to the happy hours? Are you like, the
yeah,
person that really gets, and it really isn't that, right? You can still be your authentic self and show up, and and moreover, when you land and expand, you're actually creating more opportunities for yourself, right? And learning, like, you get to put on my resume all my ERG volunteer experiences on there, and I leverage that to show I had leadership to lead a project and project management, and now I'm like basically a project manager. How that happen? I don't got no PMP, right? but I could show that from ideation to execution to delivery to reporting, that I had all those skills that I could leverage. That is what you're doing this for. You're not doing it for anybody but yourself. So I want make sure the Black women out there know, like, we're not saying keep striving, keep, right? Look for those specific opportunities to expand where you land, as you said, and we're gonna can't wait for the book, first of all. but but when you expand, make sure you're doing it strategically in a way where you are learning something that you can put on your resume and show you provided value for. That's the point. That's the
yeah.
point.
And to your point too, I think, like, when I talk about, networking and, participating in corporate events outside of work, a lot of the resistance we get is that, like, I don't want people in my business, I don't want them people knowing what I do, and that in and of itself is a function of the socialization of white supremacy, right? Because we
Yep.
believe that we can't be whole humans, right, in certain spaces in the way that, our non-Black counterparts can. And that starts as a child, right? That starts when, you and your mama in the bank or in a grocery store, and the
Yep.
white kid is acting a fool, and you're
Girl, we've all been there.
doing what a child does, right?
Yeah.
Doing exactly what children do, and you can't do that because of how you look and your skin color, right? So that socialization starts as a child. But I want people to understand that you can. I'm not telling you to tell them how you was standing on the couch yelling, screaming the lyrics and nuggets you buck over the weekend. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the weather. Tell these people about the work that you're doing. Tell them about your vacation. Tell them something.
Right. It's like 0 to 100, right? Like, why can't we be? You keep your cards close to your chest, but you can
Yes,
you have some cards to share.
I'm telling you to tell them about you and your mama's dysfunctional relationship. Tell them people about the project that you're working on.
Yes. And what you did, strategy.
And so there's a way, if you're
Mhm.
not comfortable, there's a way to still show up in these spaces in a way that honors your authentic self. Now, for me, I had got to the point in my career, girl, I was at Google. I remember the summer of 2020, George Floyd summer in New York,
Mm-hmm.
I was protesting, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we started shooting rubber bullets. And so I was literally running from the police. Me, somebody who's never committed a crime in my life, running for my life from the
Woo,
police.
I've been
So I go
there.
to work, and I talk about this in my book as well. I go to work the next day, which is a Monday, and everybody's like, "What did you do this again?" And all the non-black people are like, "Oh, I went baking cookies, or I took Billy to the playground," and they get to me, and I'm like, "Man, I got a choice to make. I could make something up, or I could just tell them."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, "I don't really think nobody on this team smarter than me, so I'm gonna just tell them." I spent my weekend running from the police, protesting police brutality,
Because your
and the
cousins, because your
and the
cousins out here.
on their faces. I could have, I could have seen through them. They were so pale. I
Wow.
was just like, they were like, I am so sorry. And I was like, you know what? On that note, I'm going to take the rest of the day off because this is highlighting the vast differences between your life and my life. And quite frankly, I'm still pissed about the fact that I'm still having to protest this. That
Yeah.
the same stuff that my father and my grandmother and her
Yep.
like we're still talking
Yep.
about this, and you can just opt out of that to go bake cookies while I am literally running from the police. And so I
Yep.
just took the rest of the day off.
Yep.
But understand, I had got to that point in my career where I just felt like, what can you
It's
do?
whatever. I will tell you the truth, and that's what I did.
That's what
You
I
know those
did.
people on the TV that you watching, right? Like
If you
it's
want
happening.
Listen, if you want to know, you should have asked a question. That's how I felt. But everybody is not there, right? So pick and
Yeah.
choose, right? And understand. Also, Google was a very liberal company at the time. So like,
True. True.
the environment was right for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Had I
Yeah.
been at Exxon still, would I have told that story? I don't know, right? There's probably a
Right.
less likely chance of me telling that story. But so
Right.
you use your, judgment,
Just
but
yeah.
there's a way to
Discernment.
show up quickly in spaces without telling, your whole life story. That's just not
Yep.
necessary.
Absolutely. And I think if we stopped being in our own little, I don't want to tell people about, right, my whole life, and
Yeah.
started to just give some crumbs and open up this shell, we're going to find out we probably have more in common than we are different, right?
Listen, travel
Easily.
is an equalizer. That's why I tell everybody, travel is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
My
We all
first
like
business,
places. Everybody
my
like the
first
beach.
business, my first business was a backpacking company. I took people on backpacking tours around the world.
Who
That's what I did.
are you? This is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I did for my gap year. So I took a year between undergrad and grad school because I graduated undergrad early with honors. So I had a little bit of time, and I started a backpacking company, and I traveled around the world for a year and a half. When I tell you, it's just so easy to just start conversations with people about travel, especially when you've been more places than them.
Yep.
Or even if you haven't, right? Just like, oh, I just, I love Jamaica. They got such good jerk chicken. When did you go? Like, people promote people who they know and they
Mm-hmm.
have similarities with. And I know that a lot of Black people think you don't have anything in common with your non-Black counterparts, but that's simply not true. Yes, we season our food, yeah, ha ha ha, all the normal things. But when you get down to the core of it, we're all human beings, right? We've all had these experiences, and there's something. When I
Yes.
lived out in Wyoming, it's another story. I lived in Wyoming. Exxon gave me my own 2 gas plants to manage out in Wyoming. You would think we had nothing to ever talk about. Their politics were different than mine. Their
Yeah.
life was different than mine. What could we possibly have to talk about, right? And the ground that we found? The plant. I learned that asset in and out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because it was their life, Rock Springs, Wyoming is a very small town. Ain't like there's a lot going on. They either hunting,
You know, it
hiking,
exists.
hiking, or working.
Wow.
So between that plant and then we went on a bunch of hiking trips together, which is a beautiful part of the country. It's
Right.
gorgeous. I could
Right.
do I could do like a national park. I ain't going off the trail now, but I can do a national park. But between those two
Gotta go
things,
find you, basically.
I was able to gain a lot of respect and find some common ground so that
Yeah.
I could do my job effectively. So even in situations where you would think, I know Sierra's out there with them people and she have nothing in common, that's just not true, right?
Yeah.
There's always
That's where
something that you find. There's always something that you can find, right? And those people don't know nothing about me. They don't know my personal life. None of they know if I was dating, nothing, but they respected me because I entered into their world, whether I was interested in it or not, right? We all went shooting guns one day. It was crazy.
right.
Like, but I just had to be open to
Right.
into their world because I was outnumbered,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I
For
had
sure.
to. Right now, there was certain I wouldn't gonna do. No, I don't want to go shoot no animals. I don't want
That's
to.
where it stopped. That was the line.
That's the line. I don't want to go shoot no animals. I'll go to the gun range with y'all, but I don't want to shoot no animals. I don't want to
Right.
see you process no animals, and
Ooh,
I don't want to be out in the woods with y'all alone. That's where I draw the line.
that part. So
Not
that's
that
they gonna
to be
find you
fair,
at a
no,
park.
it's not because I thought anything was going to happen to me,
Right,
but
right,
it's
right.
like I just want to be sure.
Listen, I saw Get Out, and I just want to be sure.
But y'all,
Oh my gosh, you are so funny.
they're
And
all good.
it really is about relationships. One thing that just came up, my marketing manager was here earlier, and she was talking about how she's like, I just want to go to dinner with you. Like, because we always work, right? The times we can, connect or whatever. But me getting to know her and her getting to know me in general, right, is
Yeah,
going to expand our business. So it's not even completely, all the way on the corporate side. On the entrepreneurship side, what are the relationships that you can be fostering, right? That
yeah,
may have nothing to do with what you do today, but are going to and could absolutely expand your network, your opportunity, your money, right? That's what we're talking about this season, right? What does it make? What you could be wealthy in people, wealthy in experiences, wealthy in all of these things, and be able to share those things to help you move forward. So I absolutely understand everything that you were
yeah,
saying. I can
yeah.
relate in so many different ways. I want to make sure that we end with like some final thoughts around wealth
Mm.
and wellness. Again, at Betterness Box, this is our season of We Are Wealthy. We do 3-month seasons. So there's 4 boxes that go out every year. And we just sent out the We Are Wealthy box. And this series is called We Are. So we started off with We Are Restored, which is that be still, get clarity, right? We really, really thought through what it would look like to help our subscribers do that. And this next season, right, it's like, okay, we got clarity. Let's execute some things, right, when it comes to our wealth and wellness. And so that We Are is all about community. And so, final words on what that looks like for you, your community, who helps, who's on your personal board of directors, is what I like to call it, right? Who are those people that continue to keep you in your mindset, right? To make sure you don't forget the things that your dad instilled in you, or, all those kinds of things. And then, of course, anything else that you have coming up, we want to know about as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the people that keep my cup full are the people who are closest to me, right? So first and foremost, God. If you know
God,
my story, you would know that I'm a walking a testimony. So that first and foremost, but then, my family and my friends. My grandmother is, my BFF, 83 years old.
I
83 years
love
old.
it.
That's still my dog. She is the reason why I do a lot of things, and certainly the inspiration for me trying to continue to break barriers, not only for myself, but for the people who are coming behind me.
Mhm.
I find inspiration in Black women and Black people, because we are I don't want to use the word strong, but resilient people.
Whew.
And the things that we accomplish in the face of adversity every single day is aspiring. And, I feel like, Cage Bird HR is my legacy, and it is my gift to Black people because it will exist long, long, long after I'm gone. And I'm so proud that it has become a pillar of support and love and affirmation and everything that it is for this community and for really everybody, because we serve everybody who needs support, right? I say it's like a Lizzo song, right? Lizzo makes music for Black women, but everybody can enjoy it. So,
I love it. Yeah.
yeah. So, I'm just so grateful to even be in this position. As far as the business side, there's a lot of people, my team, people who work for me, my mentors, my accountant, right? Like, I think, as Black people, we have to understand we can't do everything by ourselves. I am an incredibly intelligent person, but I don't know nothing about accounting. I don't know nothing about marketing. I'm
Right.
not social media guru, right? And so we have to begin to cultivate that kind of tribe that can be trusted, and you trust that they're going to lead you in the right direction, to create something bigger than yourself. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes, even though I'm the face of this business. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who are working to make sure that we reach the capability that we know this business can be, which is a multi-billion-dollar business. And then as far as what's next for Cagebird HR, we're going to continue supporting the community. Like I said, my book is coming out this summer, so be on the lookout for that. I'll be happy to put it in a wellness box or however we can support each other.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, how we can support each other in that. It's basically a book about everything that you need to know, everything that HR really doesn't want you to know, about how to be successful in corporate America. So all the little tips and tricks and things that HR doesn't really advertise to regular employees, the things that people really need to understand about corporate America and how this game goes, because it's impossible to win a game if you're unaware that you're playing one in the beginning. And so that is coming out. Other than that, we're just gonna, keep continuing to do the work, keep growing, keep scaling, right? So that's our next order of business for this year and beyond, is to, keep growing and scaling. We already support people across the country. I think we're in like 46 states now. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully we're gonna get across the pond here soon and start supporting our good friends over in the UK. But if you want to, keep in touch with everything that we have going on, you can follow us at Cagebird HR on every social media channel. That's our handle. And if you need support, you can reach out to us via the link in our bio or at cagebirdhr.com.
Awesome. You are doing amazing things. I don't know why I was going to say amazing, but you're doing amazing things. And your mindset and the way, like, thank God for your father and the circle and the village that raised you, because you are going to and are inspiring like generations to come, right? Just with that understanding. And so thank you. I'm like honored to have interviewed you today, just to be able to have this conversation with you and see, there are people with the mindset, right, that is there. We're there. And we're out here working hard to make sure that we, almost infect, right, that mindset into other people who we know, especially Black women, right? The core of our families, I feel like, is Black women. We are that juice. We the magic, we the juice, right? And so it's like, okay, what does it look like to make sure that we good? We got to be good, y'all. We got to go sit down somewhere.
Oh, please.
Don't get anything else. Right, I'm gonna lay down. Proud member of the NAP ministry over here, right? I love it. So yes, we're excited. Cannot wait for your book. We'll definitely be in touch about that, and then definitely we'll be looking out for you at Cagebird HR. And the Betterness Box, We Are Wealthy, is the season we just launched. Make sure to go to betternessbox.com to get your box, everyone. It's going to be amazing. We're talking about becoming millionaires unapologetically. This is just what it is. And then from there, there's multimillionaires. And then from there, there's billionaires. So it's all coming. It's all coming, and it's all very, very possible. And so look out for that. If you are going to order a box, make sure to enter the code We Are Wealthy and get a 5% or $5 off coupon when you check out. Looking forward to the season. And thank you so much again, Cierra, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.